Welcome to fall in North Idaho. Hey, in today's video, we're gonna take you on a driving tour so you guys can see how beautiful North Idaho is in the fall. And I'm also gonna give you some tips to prepare for winter. Let's go. Hey, if this is your first time to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notifications bell so you can stay up to date on all of our latest content. Our team gets calls, texts, and emails every single day from people just like you trying to learn more about North Idaho. So if you guys are thinking about making the move right now or 12 months from now, give us a call. Let's get that conversation started. All right, first question you might have when you see all of these leaves on the ground is how the hell do people deal with that in the city? So we're cruising through the city of Coeur d'Alene. We just took you guys through the Garden District, one of the more beautiful areas in Coeur d'Alene. Probably that and Sanders Beach would be my top picks for like cool little unique pockets to check out. So I lived on 3rd Street for a long time, and this was kind of crazy. I remember the first fall I was here to see how they did it. They actually shut down, so 3rd Street's 2 lanes coming down into the city. They would shut down an entire lane of 3rd Street for a couple of days, and you would shove all of your leaves out onto that lane, and then the city would come through on leaf pickup day, and they'd scoop them all up, throw them in dump trucks, and haul them out. It's like the only way to deal with the enormous amount of leaves that you have come down here with all these big, beautiful trees. So it's actually kind of cool that the city has that function. You can also take your green waste to the local transfer station, which is like a dump, and dump that for free as well. So there are ways to deal with it, but it definitely becomes a little bit of a burden, especially if you have a bunch of those enormous trees on your property. But you know, it's part of the price you pay for living in one of the most beautiful places on earth, in my opinion. If you watch our videos, you know that fall is like it is my favorite season of the year. You start to get that little bit of crisp in the air. Today's Halloween, we're recording this on Halloween day, and you know, all the leaves have started to change. You get the maples with the nice deep yellow, and then you get these pops of red. It's absolutely stunning. And combine that with like the little bit of a chill, you know, winter's coming. And I don't know, it's just perfect for me. I love getting a coffee and just cruising the back roads on a day like today and just taking it all in. All right, I promised you guys some tips for preparing for fall because winter is coming and you have to get ready for that. There's a lot of little things you need to do around the yard, and if you're coming from a place that's warmer, you're not gonna know some of this stuff, so pay attention. Obvious ones, clean your gutters and downspouts. That's a big one. Drives me absolutely insane as a father when I see a clogged gutter. I have literally gotten out a ladder in the middle of a pouring rainstorm to unclog gutters on my own house because I cannot stand it. So it's better to be proactive and get that done now before it's pouring rain. Get up on your ladder. If you have a high roof, you should not die that way, so maybe hire somebody to do it or put gutter guards on your roof next time. But get up there, clean the gutters out, so make sure everything's flowing and that water is draining away from your house. That's a big deal. While you're up there, inspect the roof. Check for, you know, popped nails, check for dumb little things that you can fix yourself with a can of Henry's or a tube of Henry's, and get up there and check the roof. If you've got missing shingles, things like that, maybe you want to call a professional, or if you're handy, do it yourself. Check your windows and doors, make sure everything's sealed up nice and tight. That's obviously important, and that's just going to save on your HVAC bills up here. The power's pretty cheap in general in North Idaho, but still, it's nice to be efficient. Also a good time to service your HVAC system or clean out your chimney on your wood stove. Just get that done before the year so you don't have to think about it. You should have already been stocking up on firewood by now. You don't want to get at it late in the game. That's like a year-round hustle if you're burning wood, but there is nothing like a beautiful wood burning, fire crackling. Here's the number one thing that you need to do that you may not know if you come from somewhere warm. Blow out your sprinklers. What does that mean? So your sprinkler lines are not that deep in your soil in your yard, and they will freeze if water remains in those lines throughout the wintertime. So, and when they freeze, they will crack the pipe. So what you need to do, and you can do this yourself or hire it out, lots of companies do it, I always do it myself, hook up a compressor to your sprinkler system and blow air through the lines, push all that water out of the lines, obviously shut off the sprinkler system first, and that is a key for winterizing that system for the year. In the summer, you're gonna do the reverse and you have to get your backflow checked. That's a new video. I'll do that one in the spring and tell you guys all about it. But important maintenance item to take care of. While you're doing that, this one is also extremely important. You have on your house exterior frost-free hose bibs. The valve on those sits back into the wall so they don't freeze, but if you leave a garden hose on them throughout the winter and use them, they don't function correctly and it will probably freeze and crack that pipe inside your wall. It's a pain in the butt, so to avoid that, take your garden hoses off of your hose spigots for the winter time. That's about all the maintenance you need to do on those. I'd probably throw one of those insulated covers on it just to be extra cautious as well. All right, we are cruising around the edge of Fernan Lake right now. Fernan Lake sits right next to Coeur d'Alene. It's a tiny little lake. Well, it's not that tiny. It's pretty small. The cool thing about Fernan Lake, it's pretty shallow, so it's really good fishing, especially on the east side where we're at right now. Lots of lily pads. It's stunning right now, and you can see up on the hills. You see a lot of pockets of yellow up on the hills. Some of those are tamarack trees, and those are one of my favorite trees. They're like a deciduous pine tree is the best way to describe it. They look like a pine tree, but they will turn yellow in the fall and their needles will fall off. One of my favorite trees. They're super cool. So you see tons of those up on the hills up here. The lake looks gorgeous. Fernan also freezes over in the wintertime because it's so shallow. So we did a really cool ice skating video on that last year. The ice was like crystal clear. It was beautiful. And then cruising around Fernan Lake. So when you go all the way to the east side of it, which is a few miles around it, in my opinion, the best shooting range in the area is out here. It's called Fernan Rod and Gun Club. I don't know why there's a rod in there because it's really just a gun club, but great covered bays. You can go out here and shoot. It's gated. It's $300 a year, and you can bring people with you. It's a phenomenal place to go shoot. So if you're new to the area and you want to go shoot and you can't do it on your own property, or you don't want to go to public land, good option for sure. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about prepping your vehicle for wintertime because there's a couple of key details while we're cruising that we can talk about. So my wife drives an SUV, great vehicle for North Idaho winters, especially if it's all-wheel drive. She's not super comfortable in the snow, so we get her snow tires, and I would recommend them for anybody that's even slightly uncomfortable, or if you don't have all-terrain tires like on your truck. So in the fall, and you want to do this, probably around now, maybe a week or two ago would be good before it gets super busy. She takes her car in, we own the snow tires outright, and then take them into the tire shop. They'll swap them over. It's fairly cheap. She puts them on the same rim, so they have to take the old tires off the rims to put them on. I want to say it's like $100 every time you do that. Some people will have them on permanent rims, and then that's pretty easy. You can even do that from home. But that's a key detail for making winter driving a lot more manageable, especially if you're uncomfortable in the snow. On my truck, I have all-terrain tires, and I just run those all year round, and I've never had an issue. Tundra never gets stuck. A couple other things to think about: wiper fluid. Make sure that's topped off. That's pretty obvious, but when you get those days where it's like slushy and nasty out, you're going to be using a lot of wiper fluid to keep the windshield clean. Good time to check the battery, of course, and think about packing an emergency kit in your vehicle. Just having a couple of essentials, maybe an ability to start a fire, maybe a blanket or two, things like that. Tire chains, stuff you might need. I keep that in my truck because if I'm out showing property in the middle of nowhere and something happens and I don't have the ability to get back. I want to be able to stay warm, or at least create heat and, you know, keep myself safe while I'm out there. A couple of little details. So these are important items, you know, hopefully you guys get some use out of that. And let's get back to looking at trees. All right, we're standing on the shore of Fernan Lake. It's stunning. I've got a beaver lodge over here. You got ducks flying around, the lily pads, obviously the colors. It's dead quiet other than that vehicle. Dead quiet out here. A little bit of mist on the hills. It's stunning. And I thought this would be a good time to tell a story about what I experienced at my home the other day. And this is like the perfect story of fall in North Idaho. I'm standing at the edge of my property. I've got a field. I've got a few acres, and there's two elk. There's a mom and a calf down there, and you know, they're 100 feet from me, just chewing on grass. I look up, there's like mist rolling down the valley next to us. You can see some plumes from my neighbor's wood stoves burning away. Smells like fall. You know, I don't know how to describe that. It's just like a smell, you know it when you're there. And all of a sudden I hear a bull elk bugling down the hill. And if you've never heard it, it's just a super primal experience to hear that. So I've got these two elk next to me, the bull elk's bugling. Every time the bull elk bugles, the flock of turkeys that's nearby gobbles. So you've got this orchestra of North Idaho music going on. And I mean, it was stunning. I don't know how else to describe it, but when you experience something like that, that tells you, I don't know, it tells me I'm in the perfect place for me, because you don't get that in a city. You don't get that in a lot of places, even if you live in the country. And I just thought it was the coolest experience. Water looks like glass or a mirror, like reflecting the mountains off of that is absolutely stunning. So fall is a good time to get out and get those last hikes in. A couple of great spots that we would recommend, of course, Tubbs Hill, downtown Coeur d'Alene, especially if you're staying down there. That's an excellent spot, and it's an easy hike. Mineral Ridge, which is about 10 to 15 minutes outside of Coeur d'Alene. If you're feeling a little bit more spicy, Canfield Mountain, you might take that on. Also, I would take a drive up to Schweitzer Mountain and check it out up there. The leaves turn a little bit earlier up there because you got a little more elevation, but when you get up higher on Schweitzer and you can look down on Lake Pend Oreille, it's like heaven on earth. So I would definitely recommend that. And then obviously lots of great driving trips that are easy to get to and kind of give you a feel for that fall time. Something really fun to do up here if you're looking for activities. Now this requires a jump over into Washington, and we just did a video about this, is the GreenBluff area. GreenBluff is stunning. It feels like it should be in Idaho. I'm sure a lot of the people that live there wish they were in Idaho. But you've got small family farms. They are perfectly set up for pumpkin patches and apple picking and all of the fall activities. Coffee shops, pumpkin donuts, all the good stuff. So absolutely put that on your list if you're looking for things to do in the fall up here. And then, you know, farmers markets are winding down, but you can still catch some good deals on those. Just, I don't know, get out in the community and get your pumpkin spice latte or whatever, and, you know, get those last moments in before winter hits and you're gonna get socked in for the winter time. in the house, hopefully sitting by a nice fire and reading a book. All right, thank you guys for joining us on this video tour of fall in North Idaho. I kind of wanted to highlight really what it looks like. I know I say this a lot, but it is my favorite season here. It's hoodie season, and you know, I don't know, North Idaho is very special, obviously because of the community, because of the outdoor things and all of that. But if you're looking for a place with peace and quiet, and I mean peace on a whole nother level, the stress of where you might be living right now, it kind of rolls off your back after a few months and you start to embody and assimilate to the culture in North Idaho, it'll really hit you. And you know, as we sit out here, Sebastian and I are out here now, it's dead quiet. And if that's what you're looking for, North Idaho might be the fit. And if it is, give us a call, text, or email, and get a conversation started with us and the team, and we'd love to help you make that move.